Hello, everyone. Hello. I am so excited to be here today on the Play to Win podcast, episode 5. Y'all know that we got my favorite co host, my dad, Shawn, in the building. And we also have special guests, Erika Nicole. I am so happy that my sis is joining us today. She is a really good childhood friend of mine. She's also an entrepreneur. She owns her own skincare brand. It is called Silk and Co. You can find them at silkandco.com. She also hosts her own podcast, Behind the Silk Podcast, which is available where you can listen to all podcasts. So she's on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, wherever you listen to your podcast at. And y'all know that this podcast is supposed to be about relationships and communicating within our relationships. So y'all know that I kind of suck at love most of the time. So I like to bring guests on that are doing way better in this field than me. My girl Erika has been married going on 4 years. Y'all know my dad and my mom have been married for a minute as well. So are y'all ready to play to win? I need to know. Yes.
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 I'm ready.
Yay. So today's episode is going to be about our commitment. And I thought about this because I feel like getting together is so easy to do. Like in the beginning, everybody has on their best representative, like myself included. Like when I first meet a guy, I always wonder, like, okay, when can I not wear makeup around them? When can I, not wear a girdle around them? Like it may seem kind of shallow or whatever, but these are like, even for me, the kind of things I think about in the beginning. But once you get with somebody and you're like solidified in your relationship with them, I feel like staying committed is harder than just getting together. So that's what we want to talk about today. We really want to just talk about some best practices and, postures in keeping your relationship alive and staying together in a time where everyone is so quick to be like, just leave them. If it's not working out, if you're not happy, just leave. We kind of want to lean into the opposite of that today. So, with that in mind, y'all know that we do intros here, which are my favorite part, and like our icebreaker question. So I want everybody to introduce themselves, where they're from, and anything else that you want people to know about yourself. And can you please answer the question? Um, what is an example of a time in your relationship when the spark was dimmed, and what did you do to start that fire back up? Okay, so Dad, you want to go 1st?
My name is Shawn Artson. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Now I'm living in Los Angeles, California. Me and my wife have been together for 30 years. We've been married for 16 years. Next week will be our 16th wedding anniversary. And I'm recently retired for the 3rd time. So they said 3 times the charm. And what was the question again? When the spark ran out?
Yes, and what did you do to get that fire started back up?
So the spark runs, huh? Okay. So the spark runs out when both parties kind of start taking each other for granted because we get caught up in our comfortability. I think what I did was go back to the things that we used to do to have fun, like going out, spending time together. The same way that I got her and she got me, we had to go back to that, like going out, having fun, making a date night, having a nice meal together, where either it's in the house or going to a restaurant, making reservations, going to the movies. It's like, even though you're married or you're in a relationship, you don't have to be married. Even a long-term relationship, you have to start dating each other again. Like it's in the beginning, like that feeling in the relationship when it first starts, and it's like you're all enthusiastic and yeah, I can't wait to see her. And we used to stay on the phone talking for hours. All of that you have to get back to. So that's what I went back to as far as spending time, buying her flowers for no reason and things that she likes to do, buy her some perfume for no reason. That's how you keep the spark. Put on some music that the music that we used to listen to is like, oh, you remember that song? Remember when we first met and this is the song that was playing? Those are the things you have to do to bring the spark back. That's what I did.
Come on, set a mood.
That was
We
good.
trying to get the mood set. Okay.
Light a candle.
Eric, what's your please?
My name is Erika Nicole. I'm from Mount Vernon. And like Shakia said, I've been married for 4 years, going on 4 years. And my husband and I got into entrepreneurship and business pretty early on in our marriage. So when you start mixing the business with the pleasure, it can definitely shift the dynamic of the relationship. So I wholeheartedly agree that, getting back to the basics, going back to the fundamentals, you have to be very intentional with your time. And especially when you're trying to separate like business and pleasure, setting those time boundaries, I think was like super helpful. So, like me, I'm a workaholic for sure, but like, 8 o'clock, that's it. Phone's on do not disturb, the laptop is closed. What are we doing? You know what I mean? If we're just like talking, watching a movie, just getting back to that like day to day routine and making sure that we still have some intentional time to prioritize each other definitely makes a difference.
Yes, I love that. And sis, I'm so glad that you brought that up, like entrepreneurship within a relationship, because people will say like don't mix business with pleasure, but like when you're married, everything about what you're doing is like building a legacy. And like a lot of
Right.
times that is going to involve both parties, you know, investing in businesses and doing different things with their collective money together. And it's gonna happen. So we're definitely gonna get into that a little later too. Like how do you
Okay.
keep the relationship part of like your intimacy and your connection going when you do have businesses together and you're doing investments and properties and this and that. And I think what you said is really important, like knowing how to compartmentalize and separate things. Like at this time we're not even talking about this like
Yeah.
talking about fun stuff, our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
um
Absolutely.
Cool. So I'll let you guys know, which I should already know, that my name is Shakia Love, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And I will just champion what my dad and Erica has already said. Like I feel like when for me, I am the entrepreneur. I'm very, very busy. And to what my dad said, taking people for granted. Like I feel like that's when the spark has dimmed in my relationship. Is sometimes I can just get used to the fact that this person is there, they're going to be there. And I had to learn to, like Erica, I'm not doing work right now. Like at a certain time, or what I try to do is I try to get a lot of work done before I even go to my boyfriend's house. So when I'm at his house, I'm not on the iPad and on the phone and on the computer when we're supposed to be spending time together. And just also not taking the person for granted. Like it sounds really simple, but it's something that's very easy to do. So now we're just gonna jump into a quick little ad, really quick. Okay, so y'all know that your girl wrote a book, and it is called Being a Memoir. It is a compilation of short stories and poems about my childhood and going into my high school and college years. And I'm telling y'all right now that this book was a bestseller for a reason. People to this day still stop me, ask me, like, girl, like, what were you going through? Like, how did you do this? Can you help me tell my story? So please go and get the book. If you already got it, y'all know before the holidays is gonna be here. We're gonna have some bundles. Like you can go get it as a gift for somebody else. And honestly, it's just a way for like people to feel seen and to be encouraged. So I hope that it encourages you. And we about to jump back into this Play-Doh. Where boo? Okay. So y'all know what we like to do here. On Play to Win is we kind of like to break it into two segments. For the first segment, we kind of speak of more of like a broader like lens of the topic, and then we come back for the second half and try to make it a little bit more centralized. So for this first half, I wanted to just kind of ask y'all broadly, like, what does commitment mean to you? Does it mean forever? Or is it less about the amount of time and more about the quality provided during the moments that you have with another person? Um, so I'll just start by saying for me, like I feel like because I kind of have moved around a lot intentionally since I was younger. Like I like to travel, I like to go places, go to school, then you go here, then you go there. Like I'm not a big person on just like the amount of time. Like I feel like that doesn't determine how great something is. Like it's really about the quality of the relationship while y'all are together. And the main thing that commitment means to me, respectfully, is monogamy. Like I know that there's a lot of different versions and things of relationships going around here, but when I say I'm going to be committed to someone and they say they're going to be committed to me, I'm expecting both of us to be monogamous with one another. And if that's not the case, then it needs to be communicated and we need to agree on that. So yes, Erica, what do you think?
I completely agree. Like that's kind of where I'm at, like the monogamy aspect. But I also think commitment, the definition of commitment changes based on the phase of relationship that you're in. Because if we're just dating, then you're committed to getting to know me, on a deeper level. If we're in a relationship, then you're committed to laying the foundation of a long-term relationship. And if we're married, then you're committed to building a life with me. So I feel like it definitely changes based on where you are in the phases of your relationship. But I think monogamy is ultimately the ultimate goal for sure.
She stole everything I was about to say, but that's is that commitment, first of all, it has to be agreed between both people at the different phases of your relationship. So in the beginning, you meet somebody and they could be dating other people and you could be dating other people. And you're dating yourselves and you're dating other people. As the relationship goes on, both people sit down and say, well, look, part of being a commitment when you're saying we're going to be monogamous and we're going to be committed to each other. That means we leave the other people alone, not saying they can't be friends, but you have to let the other people know I'm in a committed relationship right now. This is before marriage. This is before living together. We all have our separate spots, but I'm really serious about this person. They're serious about me. We made a commitment to each other to try to see how this is going to go. Now, as time goes on, we get deep in the relationship. Now we say either we're going to cohabitate, that's also a commitment, or we're not going to live together, but we in a deeper committed relationship. And sometimes that means you got to drop off some of your friends because friends, even of the same sex, they take time away from a committed relationship. And what happens in a lot of situations is you have friends that are not in committed relationships. They know you from when you weren't in a committed relationship, and they still want you to act like you're not in a committed relationship. That's not going to work. So as time goes on, some friends you have to drop off, or they have to understand I can't hang out with you guys as much as I used to because I have to go check with my girl. We chilling. We in a committed relationship. Now, when we get to being engaged and also marriage, the commitment is involved with monogamy, trust, infidelity, cohabitation, sharing roles in the house as far as work and chores in the house, and all that is commitment. Commitment is not just sex and it's not just cohabitation. It's committed to each other, to sharing different points of view also. Like, I know that she doesn't like this, even though I like to do this. So being the commitment, I have to give up some of myself, but she also has to give up some of the things that she likes to do that I don't like. It's also a 50-50 part. That's part of commitment.
So, Dad, you know what's crazy? Because first of all, Erica, you about to see my dad be out here trying to like. He be out here trying to school the little young bucks. Okay,
I'm here for it. I can add my little 2 cents, but I'm gonna let you finish though.
yeah. What
Hey, she just stole all my thunder.
what Kanye said? Kanye was like, "I'm gonna let you finish." Okay, so I just had to stop you because I feel like you was getting into another question that I wanted us to tap into today, and that is how do we honor the needs of our committed relationships, and like how do you balance, you know, putting things down, like you said, like not doing things that you enjoy, but also respecting and honoring your boundaries, because there's a reason why we have boundaries. And I think that it's important. Like what you're saying sounds really good, but you're coming from the perspective of someone who is super grown. Like my dad is in his 50s. He's been married for a long time, and that takes time. I feel like naturally it's not easy to be that way, to think about someone else, because as soon as you think that you have to change something about yourself to please the person you with, I feel like people in our generation now, they always see that as a negative thing, and they don't realize that in order for any relationship to work, both parties are going to have to make compromises in
Exactly.
order to for the relationship to work. But if y'all could just give a little advice on
I got
how do you do
say,
that?
I got something to say.
Hmm.
So what I've learned, what I've come to realize as being together with my wife for this long, even before we was married, men and women come into relationships and we say, first of all, men, we physical. So we see what we like, we're attracted to, but then we get to know the person. So now we'll say this thing about how I like, but this thing about how I don't like. Men and women do this. And then we say, I know what she did in her past relationships, or I know what he did in his past relationships, but I can change them. Well, guess what? Some things you may be able to change, and some things are not going to change. So the longer that you're with the person, we get to the point where we say, okay, she's changed this, I've changed that. But this thing about her, this right here, that's not going to change. So therefore, either you're going to deal with it the way it is or you're not. That's part of commitment. And also with commitment is equal to the word compromise. I will tell her, I don't like this that you do, that you like to do. You don't like this thing that I like to do. So if we're going to trade off things, I'll stop doing that if you stop doing that. But if you're not going to stop doing that, I'm not going to stop doing this. Very simple. So then you get to the point where can you live with the things that you don't like about this person? Can they live with the things that you do that they don't like? Then you have to come to the realization, is it worth me staying? Does the pros outweigh the cons? Is it worth me staying? Because she got good qualities. We got this checklist, men and women have this checklist. So she got good qualities. Out of 10 of your checklist, she might have 6 or 7. The other 3 is not going to change. So what are you going to do? 7 is a bigger number than 3. And guess what? Nobody's perfect. You're
Right.
not going to meet nobody that fits all. I'm not going to say never, but it's very rare that you're going to meet somebody that fits all your criteria and you also fit all of their criteria.
Exactly.
Let y'all take
That
this.
reminds me of that. That reminds me of the 80-20 rule. I think that was like in a Tyler Perry movie or something where he talked about that.
Mhm.
But to piggyback off what you're saying, like commitment is really an extension of expectations. Like I think we all go into relationships with some type of expectations for the other person. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have standards and you should definitely have boundaries,
Yeah.
but we also have to set realistic expectations for the people that we're with, and we have to acknowledge where they are in their life. So, like your dad was saying, like we have to have our list of non-negotiables, but we also have to have the areas in which we're okay with bending,
Mhm.
because compromise is huge. No one is perfect. So I think once we set realistic expectations with ourselves first and foremost, because I think you have to really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what are your non-negotiables? Because if you don't know, how do you expect the other person to fulfill your needs if you don't even know what you need or want?
That's
So
right.
I think it really starts with that inner work first and foremost before you kind of go out there into that world trying to have someone else fill voids that you haven't even filled yourself.
Mhm.
Exactly, exactly. And honestly, I know that we're gonna have to jump, but I feel like what you said, and then we did have a comment as well that I wanted to acknowledge. My aunt Deborah, she's watching. Hey, Aunt Deborah, we love you. She said that a committed relationship requires growing and maturing in your life theories.
Mhm.
So this is just like champion what we've been saying, and I do agree with that. But I just wanted to quickly ask y'all exactly in the work first. How do you create a peaceful household while still being honest about how you feel and about the things? And this goes on both sides. Like because it does require growing. It requires that inner work. I think that that's one of the ways that you do it. The way that you have a peaceful household is both parties individually have to have peace within. And when both parties, and that's what causes a lot of issues, is like both people are suffering through trauma that they are not healed from, and they're not trying to actively heal from. So instead of, nobody's going to take their trauma out on themselves, you're going to take it out on the next person that's closest to you.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I feel like can happen to foster a peaceful home. Is making sure you're dealing with your trauma. But do you guys have any opinion or words on that?
I think with that comes the part of the getting to know each other process. Like, you got to know the person's history, and they have to know your history. And that history involves triggers of something that they went through or that they going through, and something that you went through. In other words, if I know that this is something that's really going to trigger and make you upset, if we get into an argument, it works both ways. Like, I know what buttons to push to trigger you. You know what buttons to push to trigger me. So in order for us to have that comfortability to be with each other and to have peace, is that some things, even when you mad, you don't say, even though you could say them. So, and also it comes to the point where we could be together in the same household, but it's going to be times where I need to be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be times where I think you should be by yourself. It doesn't necessarily even mean going out. If you got more than one room in the house, one be in the living room, one be in the bedroom. I need a break. I need a timeout. Now they say, put Timmy in the corner, he's on a timeout. Inside the relationship, whether you're committed, married, going together, I need a break. We can come back together, but right now, I just need peace for myself. That's how you maintain peace. If you can't, love cannot be smothered. If you smother love, you're going to burn the flame out. So you got to give people space.
And to piggyback off that, you also have to be mindful of, just, I lost my train of thought, but I think being able to, conflict is hard. I think we have to change our perspective on like what conflict is, and that conflict resolution and healthy conflict is a real thing. Not everything has to be a fight. Not everything has to be an argument, and we can agree to disagree. And I think once we as a community change our perspective on that, even though not all of us may have seen that or been exposed to that, but I think once we allow that to really sit with us, I think it'll change our perspective on how we go about communication as a whole. Because over communication, I think, would solve a lot of problems that I think a lot of people go through.
Exactly.
Add one more thing. In a relationship with men and women, or whether it's two men or two women, there's always a battle for control of each person. So what happens is, you can't let the person totally take control of the relationship, and you can't be the one to take control of it. It has to be even. That's just the work. But there's always a battle of, like they say, a battle of the sexes. It's always a battle in a relationship of control. And then also, we can't let external voices the external voices would say, well, it seems like you just handpick, you just do whatever she say. And then it might be one of her friends say, well, he seemed like he just tell you what to do. They not in the relationship. They on the outside. So we can't even let other people judge how a relationship is, as long as it works for us.
Yes.
And most of the people that do that, they're not even in a relationship anyway.
Most of the time, it do be the people giving advice about stuff they don't know nothing about. So that's facts. And I love this. Y'all know that I love this. I love that we are out here dropping these gems, because we are now the educators. Like, we got people, we're old enough now that there's younger people coming up behind us who watch us, even maybe people around the same age as us. And like, you'll be surprised how much people need these kind of confirmations. Like, they need to hear these things. Sometimes it also helps hold people accountable. When we're going to get into word of mouth, I just wanted to shine a light on what you said about that conflict, and just say that I 100% agree. Like, people don't speak and communicate because they are so afraid that it's going to create conflict. And what people don't understand is that when you keep things in, and you bottle up your emotions,
It's
you
worse.
are creating the worst kind of
Yeah,
conflict. Like
exactly.
that's worse than just saying how you feel. And if you say how you feel and the person doesn't receive it, then maybe they're not the person for you. Are you willing to deal with that for the rest of your life? Be in a relationship for the rest of your life where you can't even express how you feel? You
It's not,
know, so
because pressure gonna bust that pipe, and all that pressure buildup is gonna bust.
you know
And
what?
I'm
Eventually.
guilty of that. I always been guilty of that since I was a kid. Like I hold a lot of stuff in, and I hold it in, and I hold it in, and then when I explode, then I just don't care. It just
Well,
comes
he
out.
don't do that no more because my dad will tell you off in 2.5 6 seconds. Okay, so um, we gonna go into word of mouth because you know my dad be going off so much. I gave him his own segment, y'all. Y'all know we about to get into word of mouth with Shawn. Okay, and
You
this
need,
is y'all
let's
send us in our stories. What'd you
mhm.
say, Dad?
Let's get it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. So this is when y'all send us in y'all stories. Y'all can send us y'all stories at kicking it with Kia at gmail.com. So today we have a story from a Japanese man named Miki. So he says, "Hello there. I am Miki, a Japanese man who came to America for college. While attending school, I fell in love with my current wife. I met my Katie, a Finnish lady, online in a student chat room. Despite linguistic and cultural differences, we really fell in love after having so much in common in terms of taste in music, entertainment, and course of study. It's never simple to manage a long distance relationship, but we remain committed to making it work. Throughout this time, I received a lot of flack from my friends and family about dating a woman I'd never seen before. I received my friends would tell me she wasn't real, and my family didn't like the fact that she was a different ethnicity and practiced a different religion from mine. We overcame all the difficulties of a virtual relationship, finally met face to face, and are more in love now than we were 10 years ago when we first met. The problem is my family still won't really speak to me or embrace my wife in any way, and it hurts. While I believe that my wife and I love has no bounds, it still hurts me that my loved ones won't accept her. I wish our relationship could serve as a reminder that love is a language that unites all people, but many of my family see it as betrayal instead. So I have to ask you, would you welcome family members that are of a different ethnicity, creed, or philosophy? And how do you think I should handle this?
I'm ready to respond because I've been exposed to this through family members and different things like that. First of all, love has no color. Love has no boundaries. Love has no discrimination with age, sex, gender, whatever. If you really love that woman and she loves you, then it's about y'all two together. Because you trying to make your family happy will make you miserable. Now, y'all went through everything virtually. Y'all finally met. Y'all clicked off. Everything should be good. You have to make the determination that you love this woman, you want to be with her, she wants to be with you. Your family, you have to leave that out. That's you can't worry about how they feel about her. It's how you feel about her. If she really loves you and you really love her, it's going to work because love has no boundaries. It's simple.
Exactly. Exactly. So would so since you believe love has no boundaries, that so you're saying that you would welcome in a person into your family of a different race, like through marriage or something?
Been there, done that, been exposed to that. And you know what I'm talking about. We're not going to get into any specifics, but my thing is this. If you love the person, it doesn't matter if I love them or not. It doesn't even matter if I like them. Now, I will, even if I don't like them, because I love you and you love them, I'm going to treat you and them with the utmost respect, whether I like them or not. But I'm always going to look out for your best interest. So if you say that you love them, I'm all for it. The minute that they do something against you, I'm on Team Kiki. Okay? That's how that works. So it's just like me and your mom's. Like in the beginning, my mother might have looked at her a little different because of the situation. And then, but she had, as time,
You have to elaborate on that. You have to explain what that means.
okay, so I had already been married before, and the woman that I was originally with only had one child. So when I got with your mother, she already had kids. She had like 3 kids already, right? So my mother is looking at it like, you're going to leave one woman that has one child to be with another woman that has 3. But the character of your mother, like she told me when I first got with her, you're not here for these kids. I'm already maintaining the household. I'm already taking care of them. You're here for me. Now, I want them to respect you and I want you to respect them, but that's not what you're here for. And as time went on, my mother had to realize the type of woman that my wife is. Now, my mother loves her just as much as she loves me. But that didn't happen in the beginning because we looking from outside, the way things look outside, everything is not cookie cutter. Once you get to know a person, like, it doesn't matter what color you are, white, black, green, or whatever, it's how you treat me. I can't go by how somebody else looks at you or how you treat them because you don't treat me that way. You understand what I'm saying? So in a relationship, when it's back to commitment, we committed to each other through the ups and downs. That's part of commitment too. Is like, you can't always be, it's not always going to be rainbows and puppies. Sometimes it gets hard.
Exactly.
And that's when you know this person loves me for me.
Exactly.
It's not for materialistic things. It's not for what can I do for you. We do for each other because we love each other. That's part of commitment.
Exactly. So we about to jump, but thank you, Dad, so much. Thank you. That was some great advice. We love the word of mouth segment. Y'all make sure to send us in y'all stories. It can be anonymous. Y'all can send them in to kicking it with kia@gmail.com. And as we've said, love has no bounds, but it is important to understand that every single relationship, even sometimes if you of the same race, like, there's going to be difficulties not only internally, but there can be difficulties externally.
Right.
And you have to know how to get through that together. Like with people saying things and stuff like that, and maybe the person don't like you, like the person's family or whatever. Y'all have to know how to
You
get through
know
that.
what? That's a part of that too. And the dealing with family, that they feel like this person that you're dealing with is taken away from some of the things that you do for your family. That's part of it too. In other words, this person's in love, so now all the little extra things and all the time that we used to spend doing, or the stuff that I could get from this person, I can't get that from them no more because they dealing with this person, and that sense resentment.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
stuff that they was getting before.
Exactly.
But we can't ignore the fact that when your family's not in favor of the relationship that you're in, it puts a ton of stress on the relationship that could potentially break it. So I feel like your only option is to cut them off. But, that could be a little extreme. But, it is what it is. You have to set healthy boundaries. You have to set healthy boundaries. If you're not okay with the decisions that I'm making in my life, the door is right here, baby.
Guillotine her family? Like,
listen. Erika, let me say something. Erica's about that life, and we about to jump into her ad right now because she about to tell y'all about her cutthroat skincare brand real quick. Okay?
Well, this is Behind the Silk, and we're a skincare brand really based in just self-care and prioritizing yourself. With the stresses of life, just being intentional about yourself and prioritizing yourself typically takes a back seat. So with Silken, the goal and mission is just to really empower everyone to really take a second and slow down, to prioritize themselves. And our main product is our detoxifying reset mask, which you typically leave on for 10 to 15 minutes, and you take a hot shower, grab a glass of wine, and it really creates a time for you to be intentional. So you can head over to silkenco.com, or you can go to our Instagram at silkenco to learn more.
Yes, girl, and I will be getting my mask.
Period.
I love, you see the skin is on glow. I don't play when it comes to the skincare routine.
Okay.
And I see you don't either, because Erika,
unisex
Like
products
she
that's
got her makeup
men
on.
and women, right?
Yes, it's unisex.
Oh,
Yes, we going. I'm gonna get you one day. I'm gonna get one for me, one for you. And Erica don't even look like she got makeup on. Her skin is glowing. Like
I don't. I really thought about it, but then you said 9 o'clock Eastern Standard, and I was like, mm mm, mm
you
that's
said, that's too close to the time.
you're not playing. That's not
Oh my goodness, I love this. So yes, y'all make sure to go show my girl some love. Make sure to listen to her podcast. Check out her silkandco.com brand. Like get that detoxifying mask. I just did a collagen mask the other day, and y'all see it is on
The
glass.
skin
So,
is skinning.
so
real bougie.
right now.
Bougie. You're bougie, Shaquille. Bougie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we about to get into another fun segment because I know I love my segments. And we about to get into Hotline Bling. Yes. So this is when y'all send us in questions, and then we give an answer. This is gonna be my first time taking over the Hotline Bling. But what I'll probably do is after I give my perspective, I'll open the floor up to see if anybody else has any input they want to add. So this question is anonymous and it says, I was having a bad day at work, came home and blew up on my husband. I felt kind of bad afterwards because he really didn't do anything that wrong. He just asked, what are we having for dinner? I answered him, but then he asked me again. So now, usually, I just let it go and repeat myself because obviously he just didn't hear me, but not that day. I was already so hot from work that I just found myself lashing out on at him. I was literally standing in the middle of the kitchen, yelling and screaming like a crazy woman, all because he wanted to know what was for dinner. We cleared things up after, but these small moments of miscommunication can definitely turn into bigger conflicts. So I'm just trying to be better and learn how to avoid my emotions boiling over. So, do you have any advice on how couples can manage their emotions and avoid letting negative feelings escalate during a simple interaction? Um,
Ooh,
so yes, like
ooh.
Mm,
I mean that's a lie because the truth is I feel like people don't talk about this enough when it comes to relationships because to me, this is the biggest reason why people break up. Like it'd be like these simple things that people just don't like. Like I don't like that you always cut me
mm-hmm.
off, or I don't like that you like just simple character traits that people have probably had their whole life. Like I don't like that. Like you always could talk, but you don't really know how to listen. Like I'll say something and you really just like you in the room, but you're not really listening to what I'm saying because all you're doing is thinking about what you're about to say. Like when you're in a relationship with somebody, like little things like that will definitely come to a head and then you'll be like, why am I standing in the middle of the living room yelling and screaming at you when you didn't even like this particular instance, you didn't do anything that bad. But because all of these emotions have boiled over and like for this story, it seemed like your man ain't even do nothing even in the past. Like you just was having a bad day at work. So that's another thing with relationships too. Like I think it's about offering grace and knowing how to accept grace and like and knowing how to apologize when you're wrong. Like to me, that's like
Mm-hmm.
one of the main things, and not letting a small little kind of interaction turn into like the death of your relationship. Like I feel like it's just like you have to know how to extend grace. Like know that even though this is my relationship and we feel safe here within these walls, this person that I'm with obviously goes through other things outside of this. They obviously have a job, they have a family like that they had before me. It can cause a lot of stress and that might affect the way that they act when they come home. And now it's time for us to have us time. Now, as the person on the receiving end of that, you really just need to know how to give grace sometimes. Like, the person you're with. If you know that it's out of character for them, instead of you blowing off back, like, because I'm not sure exactly what your man did in this instance, but like, I love like when stuff like this happens and like sometimes people get really emotional and the other person is just very rational and balanced. And like, instead of going back and forth, they just center the situation. And I feel like that is what a real man is supposed to do in a relationship because us as women, like we do have a lot of hormones, we have a lot of things going on, we're natural nurturers and caretakers, and sometimes that can be a lot and we can like boil over And sometimes you just need a significant other to see past your emotion and just be like, you know what, I see you at your core. I see the love that you give me on a regular basis, and I know that this is out of character for you. So I definitely, am gonna extend grace. So we have to get into the next segment, but I did just want to open it up. Did anybody have anything that they wanted to add?
I would say that there's always a saying that you leave work at work and you leave home at home, like to keep it separated. But looking at it totally, that's really not realistic. But what probably would have been better, she was already having a bad day. She should have called and maybe spoke to him and say, look, honey, I'm just letting you know I'm having a bad day today. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that's coming with the communication. Like, this dinner thing may not be, might be better either if you cook something or I'll get some takeout, we order some food or something like that. So, because we human, right? So she had a bad day, but she knew she was having a bad day when she came in. He didn't know that she had a bad day, but if she had called him earlier and told him, he'd have been like ready for it. Like, okay, let me just chill. So I would put it
I
like that.
agree. And
Yeah.
apologize quick and forgive quick. You know what I mean? Even if you catch yourself in the moment, like, all right, babe, my bad, I'm bugging. Like, my bad. Like, it's okay to apologize in the moment and not let things fester. Because I know people do that. Like, they'll give their partner the silent treatment and not talk for hours, and the person don't even know like what they did that triggered the situation. So be willing to apologize quick and forgive quick. And I feel like that ties into the whole giving your partner grace as well.
Yo, first of all, can you not yell at me, Erica? Like, I don't need you screaming at me. I don't
Forgive,
need
baby.
this
Apologize.
because I don't need this.
Receive it, forgive the apologies that you receive and forgive.
Because I am
Yeah.
definitely the person that, because I don't want to say something that I can't take back. When I feel upset, I'm not in a good mood. I just end the conversation. I'm not talking to you for however long until you decide to hit me up. But I'm not even better at that. But you
Okay.
yelling at me right now. So we're going to jump right into the central
Just one
issue.
thing quick. When my wife is really, really mad at me, she's not talking. I know she's hot. When she completely shuts down, I might as well just leave. It's a wrap. She's mad.
Big
She.
mad.
I just had to say that.
So, central issue. When is it okay to seek guidance and advice from outside the relationship? So, for example, therapy, spiritual counseling, conversation with someone else that you trust. Like, when do we do that in order to stay together and keep our commitment going?
Early and always.
Early and all.
Early and always.
Hey, to the
Even when we did premarital counseling before we got married for maybe a month or two before we got married, and I think that really set the foundation. And I do think it's important where you get your information from. So don't be just taking advice from freaking friend down the road who are, six divorces in and have never had a healthy relationship. Like, I do not recommend, but like be mindful if you're actually seeking wise counsel from like a licensed therapist or you're a pastor that you trust or whatever the case may be, early and always. Because I'm a big advocate of therapy maintenance. I know a lot of people are not for that, but like we don't just go to therapy and workshops when things are bad. We go when things are good to minimize the bad as much as possible, or at least have the tools to work through them more efficiently than if we didn't have them. So early and always, for sure.
I want to know who's freaking friend. Did you say freaking friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important to get it from a trained professional or a pastor, somebody that don't have any ulterior
Bias.
motives and stuff like that. Because like sometimes, like I said, with your boys, they're gonna give you the male point of view. With females, some of them, if they really good friends, they will be like, you messed up. And that could be like a family, like a female cousin. Sometimes a man, we need to hear from a female point of view. Listening to our friends is really like male friends. Sometimes that's not a good idea because the male ego they give you bad advice. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I to piggyback off that, I feel like even if we just like remove gender from it, because even like with females, I think that it's also the person needs to be at the place that either you're trying to go or the place that you're at right now. So like if you're in a relationship or maybe y'all haven't made it official yet, but that's where you're trying to go, you don't need to be taking advice from people who are happily single. And especially if they're your friend, because it's not just something that men do. Like women do that too, where it's like, I'm single, my homegirl not single, but I want her to be single with me. And I don't
Mhm.
want her to be in this relationship. So as soon as I get a chance to talk her out of this relationship, that is what I'm gonna do.
And
Like,
that goes back to not telling your business to everybody, whether you're in a relationship or a marriage or whatever. There's just certain things that are between you and your partner. Everybody doesn't need to know your business. And even if you want to share it eventually, it needs to be after the situation's resolved, because you don't need any outside influences affecting your decision, especially when you're in the thick of it. Like, do not recommend.
so we're gonna do a whole nother episode on this topic, but because you said that, I feel like there's no way that I can't bring up social media. Like I gotta bring up social media because it's like we live in a world where and here's me playing devil's advocate for a second, because I think that it's very toxic that social media is only supposed to show people at their best moments. Only supposed to show people, because if this is supposed to be a way to know who I am and to really know me, like Facebook say, what's on your mind, it's not always something good that's on my mind. Like that's just honest, you know. So, but when it's just you and you're just talking about yourself, that's one thing. But when you get into
Exactly.
a relationship, now it's not just about you. Now when you put stuff out there online, and this is me speaking to myself, because I had to learn this, because I'm an open book. I'm very, very, very transparent. Like even when it comes to things about myself that may not show me in a good light. So I had to learn, like, just because I'm okay with that, it doesn't mean that my partner signed up for that. It doesn't mean that my partner is okay with that. It doesn't mean that they are okay with me going online and just saying how I feel in terms of we had an argument or something happened. Now this is the same thing I would do if I wasn't in a relationship. Like if I had a bad day at work, or if my parents got on my nerves. Like I have always been the kind of person that I could go online and say certain things, but I had to learn how that not only are you telling just anybody your business, you're telling everybody your business. Because even
Yeah.
complete strangers who have never seen you or your partner before, if your pages are public, they can go on there and see that stuff.
And everybody has an opinion.
So what are y'all
Yeah.
thinking about that? Like, how does social media tie into the fact that we're not supposed to just tell our business to anybody? Because the truth is, we really tell our business to everybody. We just pick and choose. Like, if you are on social media, you are telling your business to everybody. You're just picking and choosing what you want to tell.
It's
So
funny that you bring that up, because I'm actually the complete opposite. Like, you know this. I'm a very private person. I don't talk about anything until it's probably like already happened or like past due. Like even with my Instagram stories, like they don't make it up until the next day, because like I'm in the moment, like maybe capturing from some content, but like I'm trying to be present in the moment. And I think if we just take that offline and we just try and be more present in our own lives, I think we'll have less of that desire to run to the internet with our good, bads, and indifferences, when you really just start to sit in the present moment, which I think we've strayed away from because of social media.
I think social media in this, see what she's saying, that's what people of my generation, she's young, but she has an old soul. She has her
Sure do.
mindset is old in a good way, not a bad way. Because even before social media, your parents and your aunts and your uncles tell you, don't let everybody know your business. Don't tell them this, don't tell them that, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But then it got to the point where, like I was talking to my brother one day, he's like, people go on social media and they say, I'm getting ready to go on vacation. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. But then we know when to come rob your house because we know he ain't going to be there.
Yeah. Show
It's
enough.
like an addiction. So we have to pick and choose what we put on social media and how we go about being on social media. But to me, it's like the younger generation, even to the point where when these people go and they rob and they do stupid things, they're posting it on social media. So the police have a whole unit, that's the cyber unit. All they do is watch social media all day, and that's how they catch all the people that's doing crimes. Like the idiot that was stealing EDD money, the rapper, and he's making videos and all that. Now your ass is in jail. I rest my case.
I rest my case. Like, because these are facts, and if y'all want to learn from my past mistakes, I think the best thing is to just remember that when you're in a relationship, it's not about two become one. So it's not just about you. Now it's about two people. So just because you're the kind of person, and or vice versa, like you have some people that are really private, but then they might be with somebody that's not. They want to put stuff out there. You just have to keep the other person in mind. Like just because you're the kind of person that like to put your moves out there, that like to put yourself out there. And for some of us, it's because we're a brand too. That has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an
I was
author.
gonna say that, yeah.
Looks like
But you put it out
yeah,
you put it out on social media, it's out forever. And
exactly,
Especially when your profile is public.
right.
exactly. Because you
And,
never know who's
and
downloading your stuff
like
and
guys,
recording your stuff.
females that send pictures and females be sending pictures, and then once it's out there, it's on the internet. So they
Exactly.
came with the pictures.
So it's like you just have to remember that if you signed up for a certain kind of life, you have to communicate and speak to the person that you're with because they didn't sign up for that. And you can't just assume like, oh, well, they know who I am. So if they want to be with me, then that means they're just signing up for that. Like, no, like they want to be with you because they like you, because you guys might have stuff in common, because they find you attractive, not because they want every aspect of their life to be on social media like yours.
So not
So
me flipping the script, but I want to know your opinion on what your thoughts are on like people not posting their significant others, because I've seen that literally ruin relationships too. Like,
but see,
oh,
this is
she
what
ain't she ain't post me in my stories, so she don't love
She didn't
me.
like my picture.
this is why I said there's no way that we could bring up being present in the moment and not telling everybody your business without bringing up social media. Because I feel like in the day and age that we live in, social media has such like you damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it's like people they really do that. Like, no, I don't want you like posting me when let's say like with me, like I don't want you posting when you feel away about something or when we have an argument,
Mm-hmm.
but yet I do want you to post and let everybody know that I'm your man. To let everybody know that
Yeah.
you are
That's
taking.
the
And
dope.
this is the problem that I have with it because I feel like this is why the younger generation be suicidal and they be depressed because we only show it's like Hollywood 24/7 now. Like instead of
Yeah.
you playing on the TV and seeing perfection, now in your hand, 24/7, all you looking at is perfection. You're
Right.
only looking at the good times. You're only looking at the vacations. You're only looking at the businesses started, and you don't ever know what's going on, like in terms of negative. But like we said earlier, sometimes you have to know how not to overshare the negative parts of your relationship. But at the same time, you really never know who that may help. Like so, like you said, conflict is not always a bad thing. Like sometimes letting people know, no, yeah, my man really got me tight yesterday, but guess what? He's still my man today. We worked it
Right.
out.
Some
So,
people want you to put them on. So see, but she brought up a good point. You in a relationship, right? So you like say I'm a man, I'm with a woman. She don't want to be she don't want to be put on social media. Now the other one, she wants to be, I want everybody to know we together. I want you to post me. I want pictures, da da da. So it's communication in the relationship. Some people want it, some people don't. But when you're making a brand, the brand is like you trying to post everything is in a beautiful picture to promote your brand, but that's not really reality. That's not
and
true.
sometimes being in a relationship goes against your brand. And it's not saying that you're ashamed of it, but sometimes people also have to be careful what they ask for. Like this is the thing too. Like
Yes.
understand when you are a public figure, once you put somebody out on social media, it's not just good things that come with that. It's good and bad things that come with that. So you may think that somebody's trying to quote unquote hide you when really they might just be trying to protect the relationship because they know once you get like, okay, let's keep it real. And this happens across the board.
Mhm.
Everybody think you single, ain't nobody in your DMs. Update that relationship status.
It's
Put
over.
this
It's
together.
over.
They
It's
go
over. People from
DMs flooded.
right.
people that you
2005
hello 2005 people you ain't seen since
from
elementary.
a messenger.
She went back to AIM. She went
Like,
to dollar.
then sometimes it's like okay, now I know the way that I respond to that. That's gonna say a lot about me too. Is it, people gonna reach out to you? People gonna say whatever, but it's all about how you respond. But let's keep it real. Your significant other still may feel away, even if you shut it down. People, they're not honest
Yeah.
enough about that. Like, I could shut something down and your significant other could still feel away just at the fact that you're getting hit up in the first place. Like, why is this person even calling you? Why is this person even messaging you? I cannot control who reaches out to me, especially
Mm-hmm.
when people think that I'm glowing, I'm thriving, and I'm in a committed, happy relationship. That makes people now want to ruin what you have going on. That makes them want to get up in your face more. So that's another reason why a lot of times public figures, they keep their significant other, are they feeling like private, because
Private.
you don't know what kind of different people. But after a while, I do think no matter what, after you've been with somebody for a certain amount of time, if you are somebody that uses social media, it is kind of shady that you don't introduce the person you with to social media. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying that it needs to happen immediately, but if you're the kind of person that use social media and you use it for whatever you use it for, like you actually, because there's some people that do not use social media, even in 2023.
Yeah.
They won't post about their life or whatever. That's one thing. But if you're the kind of person that posts about your life and you've been with somebody for like a year, why we don't know that?
I, I
At
think
least
with,
at least a story post or something.
I think
At least a story.
I think with the branding, it's just like stars and athletes. In the beginning, you want the attention, you want the paparazzi, you want the publicity. Once you get to a certain level, now you don't want it. But see, that's what you signed up for. Once you put yourself out there as like, I'm trying to promote this and the other, then you got to open up your life. Now you're going to get unwanted media coverage. It works both ways.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
think the compromise is to post them and not tag them. I feel like that's the compromise.
See, that's
That
way stuff
part.
there. See, that's that
Mm-hmm.
new stuff right there.
That part. See,
Let
that's
them
that
guess. Keep
millennial
them guessing.
mind right there.
Keep them guessing.
That
Right.
is.
Right.
They don't know if that's your man or your cousin. They don't know who it is.
That's so funny. The first time Jay and I went on vacation, I literally only posted like his shoulder in the window. Like it was such like a discreet post, like it was like an arm. And the
Just,
DMs just go crazy. And it's like,
just
you
to
got to post but don't tag.
Because you and then
put
people
back.
are malicious and people
Yep.
lie too. Like people are malicious and people lie. So it's like sometimes people just want to protect the things that are the closest to them. So guys, can y'all believe we already about to be at an hour? I can't believe
Yeah.
it. I can't believe it.
This
Like
was the fastest
this
hour
was so. What you say,
This is
Dad?
this
good.
was the fastest hour we've ever done.
Yeah.
Yes, I told y'all my girl Erika she is the hostess with the mostest. She
She's
told
always,
best
she's
best
straight to
host.
the point. Yeah, she don't play.
And
I
you drink
appreciate
hard,
y'all.
sis. She was like
Period.
early and forever. Thank you. I was like, okay. So
She
I
said when it comes to the family, just cut them all off. That's what she
Cut them
said.
off.
cut it off. Yes. Like so while our hour is almost up, y'all know that I cannot say goodbye without giving y'all a challenge. So it's so funny that we started talking about social media and significant others and all that stuff because the challenge for this week is to get to know your significant other or your friends a little bit better by having a game night. It can be virtual or in person. You know, they have a lot of different things now since COVID, like different fun ways that you can play games virtually. And just try to make it a game that centers around like learning more about the other person. So there's a lot of games that are like that where it's like, oh, three truths and a lie, or you gotta say a fact about yourself, or whatever the case might be. Like it might could be like a trivia game, but instead of asking questions about like mass media or whatever, you can ask certain questions that tell you more about the person. I had even saw an ad where they have like this black owned card game that is for couples to get to know each other better. So it's like you pull out cards and there's questions on it that you got to ask your significant other. And I want y'all to tell me how it goes. So I'm gonna be making some posts this week about this podcast. There was one question that we couldn't get to as well, so I'm gonna be posting about that because I want to know what y'all think and I want to know how the challenge went and how the game night went. Okay, so my mom, y'all know I always gotta read my mother text messages. So she said, "Don't put me on social media. That's what the podcasters are for." You know what?
The shade is real.
So we have fun. Y'all know it's your girl, Kia Love. I'm here today with my dad, Shawn, and then we had our special guest, Erika Nicole, entrepreneur, wife, my sister, my sister.
Okay.
I love you so much, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy that we were able to do this. So thanks for playing a win with us, guys.
Are you inviting me to the game night?
Girl, you know we gonna do
Oh,
it.
we
This
play
is
Uno,
Okay, just making sure.
and
Erica.
I
We
have a
Uno.
You don't want to
surprise.
play Uno with me because I don't play about Uno. You can get cut off for some poor Uno playing. Just know.
Oh, so
Okay, Papa. I just want you to know.
can you double down like when you play Uno? Can you do like plus four more than one at a
Yeah, we
time and
keep
stuff?
that up.
No, once you put down a +4, you can't put nothing and you lose your turn.
I don't know. We got some different rules. We're gonna have to discuss that because you can have up to like plus
See, that's
21.
the problem.
Yeah,
House
yeah.
rules. House rules.
This is so much fun. I love this, guys. So yes, make sure that y'all tune in, and y'all know that even if you couldn't watch us live, our podcast is also available wherever podcasts are streaming, and I will have the podcast up on the streaming sites probably by Saturday, one day this weekend. It'll be up there. So I'm excited. So thanks for joining us, guys, and we're out of here.
Right. Right. We went over.